Hi Libra, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel, and also happy early birthday to those of you who celebrate in September. This is your September 2021 love reading. Thank you to those who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridging the gap spread, and that way it works is we'll look at the past energies, present energies, and future energies between you and your main love interest. Once we get through all those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards for some additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. As far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, and on the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. And also keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy, and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the other way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have the King of Coins. So this is actually Taurus energy here, which for you guys is your 8th house. So it could just be saying you might have had a lot of focus on finances, possibly even investments. Now, for some of you, this can point more to intimacy as well, but I feel like this is more of pointing to you just focus on other things, primarily finances, as opposed to directly related to this person. So that could have just been a heavy area of focus for you guys. Of course, maybe that was going back to Cancer season, because obviously that's your 10th house of career and social status. But yeah, it looks like you guys definitely had a lot of focus on your finances in the recent past. All right. Past energy on their side, we have the Fool, Nine of Swords, Gemini energy, and King of Wands, Leo energy. So, with the Fool energy here, especially given that he's walking away from the cards on this side, I feel like this is saying that they might have saw that they weren't really getting much from you, as far as it didn't seem like you were putting much energy toward the connection. I feel like they might have actually left it behind, but at the same time, I'd add a lot of anxiety around it. Now, the Nine of Swords in this deck in particular, I think about the black cat crossing their path, and if you think about that old superstition, it could just be saying that they might just feel like they just have bad luck in general when it comes to relationships. So, could have been one of those things where they might have looked at the worst case scenario. But with the King of Wands underneath it all, it looks like they definitely did have that desire to connect. But given what it's underneath, I feel like they didn't necessarily express that to you guys. And keep in mind, we also have two King energies in the past too, so you guys might both kind of been insistent on doing things your way a bit, and that could have been causing a clash in the connection too. All right. Present energy on your side, we have the Seven of Cups. So this is actually Scorpio energy here. So again, now this is your second house of finances. So we saw the 8th house, now we see the second house here. Still looks like there's a lot of confusion going on for you guys around finances. Maybe you just have a lot of investments you're dealing with, a lot of obligations financially that could just be taking the majority of your focus away. Because we do see there is that person in the frame, but it doesn't look like they're physically in the room, right? It almost looks like a ghostly type presence there. So obviously, I think they're still physically alive, of course, but I'm just saying, as far as looks like you might think of them in the back of your mind, but there's just so much else going on right now that you can't really give that energy to the connection. I do have to say, on the surface, this looked a little bad, the whole spread in general, but then when I thought about the astrology, it didn't seem as bad. Because, for example, right now, you guys have Mars moving through your 12th house. So it could just be one of those things where your mind, there might be a million things going on in your mind, but actually bringing them out and acting on them in the physical world could still be a bit of a struggle for you guys. So if that is how you're feeling, just keep in mind around the middle of September, Mars will be in your sign. So that should help with that. And then also, the second week of September, you're going to have Venus move into your second house of finances as well. So that might give you another boost there too, if you are really just wrapped up in finances. So could smooth itself out with time. All right. Present energy on their side, we have the Knave of Swords. So this is the equivalent to the Page of Swords. And if we think about that feminine energy there, kind of staring off in the distance, here we see the feminine energy with her back turned, right? So it could just be saying that they might want to communicate with you, but I'm just feeling like they feel like you're closed off, because again, here she's staring off in the distance, there we see the back turned, so I feel like they just might even really not know how to approach you at this time. So I'm really getting that there's not any communication happening between the two of you. Really not at all. I was going to say maybe a little, but I don't even think that there is any going on at all the more I look at it. Future energy on your side, we have the Princess of Cups in reverse. So this is the Page of Cups in traditional tarot. And with it coming up in reverse, could just be saying that you might not necessarily want to come forward and make an offer. But what's interesting is, especially given that it is in reverse, she is looking toward that direction. So I feel like this is saying the feelings are probably still there, but at the same time, you're just not feeling like coming forward and making an offer to this person. So really not seeing a lot of progress this month. Now, I mean, there's tons of energy going on in Libra, and then also there's going to be the Mercury retrograde toward the end of September. So you guys could just have a whole lot going on. So it's possible that might change in the future. But quite frankly, this month, it doesn't look like there's going to be much going on between the two of you. All right, future energy on their side, we have the Death card, which is the major arcana card for Scorpio, and the High Priestess. So, I do have to say, with the Death card, we see there's two other people in the background, a similar theme with the Fool card. So it's at least possible that what could have been happening here is they might have taken your lack of engagement toward the connection with them as a sign that maybe there was someone else involved. Um, and I feel like if that's the case, there could have been a lot of assumptions taking place because it doesn't look like there's much communication here at all, really. Like I said, for some of you, I'm sure there has been, but just looking at the spread as a whole, looks like there's not really any communication going on. And then this person might feel like they're very intuitive, but at the same time, they might just have a tendency to assume the worst case scenario, especially, like I said, with that Nine of Swords in the background, where they might, in the past position, where they might have just felt like they just have bad luck in general when it comes to relationships. So if there wasn't communication on your part to let them know what you were going through, they might have just let their imaginations get carried away with them. Because to be perfectly honest, I don't see your involvement with anyone else. So I don't think that's really the case at all, but I just feel like that could be what's going on in their mind. And if that's the case, they might actually move forward to end the connection. But even if that's not the case with the High Priestess underneath that, I feel like this is saying, especially given the fact that her back is turned, I'm not seeing communication come from them. So, like I said, this could just be a byproduct of all the stuff that's going on astrologically. But I mean, from the looks of this spread in particular, if this looks like your story, I wouldn't expect much communication between the two of you at all in September. So maybe it could rectify itself. Usually, when things are already off the rails coming into a retrograde, the retrograde can actually benefit those situations. So certainly possible things can change, but yeah, just looking at the spread as a whole doesn't look too promising for September at least. Bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Five of Coins, some more Taurus energy here. And yeah, like I said, it just looks like you guys have a lot going on financially. Maybe for some of you, you might have even been protecting your finances. So maybe you are very well off financially, but maybe there was some doubt on your part as to what their intentions were, especially if they arrived with that Fool energy, right? So you might have been wondering, okay, is that why they're interested in me? So there could have been something around that too. Try to think if anything else comes to mind with this. Now, I will say, seeing this Taurus energy, the fact that we had Leo energy there too, for some of you, this could have been a connection that might have broken apart when we had that Leo new moon recently, because it was square Uranus, so possibly that was the case for some of you. But interestingly enough, beneath that, we do see the Judgment card. So yeah, this looks like it will come back around at some point. September, though, I don't know about it happening in September, just from what I'm seeing. We'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix, though. Bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Lovers. So this is Gemini energy here. So yeah, it definitely looks like there is interest on their part. Like I said, it just looks like they, and maybe if you think about Gemini energy, mercurial, right? Very rapid thinking. So I just get that feeling that this person's mind might tend to think of worst case scenarios when things aren't going well. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, it looks like there's a lack of communication on both sides. So it's not even about placing blame. It just looks like it's just a mess. And without that communication, I don't see the improvement. So, but like I said, we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll see if we get anything for Aqua Moonlight deck here. I did pre-shuffle this deck before we started recording, and what I'm looking for here is just some jumpers. I'll be looking for unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. If I shuffle for a while without anything coming up, I'll just move on to the next deck, but occasionally we get extra messages here. Alright, that one won't go back, and next we'll see if we get any from them to you. Okay, and let's say we got two on their side, so let's see what we got on your side first. Okay, we have gentle. It says, I'm staying away from you because the last thing I want to do is to hurt you. Interesting. Now, that could be one of those things, right? Where, like I said, for some of you, it could represent either you're very well off financially and you're worried about them possibly interested in you for that reason, or others you could just be saying that you're going through a lot of financial struggle right now. And, you know, that might make you feel, especially if this was the energy you were in the past, like a King of Coins energy would feel like they really need to be secure financially before they could pursue a relationship sometimes. So if that's the energy you guys were in, you might have been like, oh, I can't even really offer anything to the connection. So it could have just been one of those things. But again, especially given that this is an unspoken message, right? I feel like that's the main issue, though, that you had the best of intentions, I'm sure, but without the communication and then them just jumping to conclusions, it just looks like a hot mess, basically, but we'll see what we get on their side. All right, we have two cards. So, all right, we have stubborn, which is funny because I did mention that with the fact that they had the King of Wands and you guys had the King of Coins, where both sides, you know, insisted on doing things their way, and then there was a clash there. And we have play. I just want to have fun with you. So that's also interesting because the other part of that Leo energy I mentioned was there's that desire underneath it all to connect, right? But again, it looks like there's not really communication going on around that. So hopefully those resonated with you guys. And then finally, we'll pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck here. Same situation here as far as I pre-shuffled this deck as well, but here I'm just looking for one card for general advice and we'll wrap up. There's your card. Let's see what we got. All right, yeah, we have Between Worlds. That sounds about right. But there's the artwork, and the number is 3. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, it says transitions, not quite being out of one situation and fully engaged in another, temporary blindness, no man's land. The Oracle's message, between the worlds is where you must let go of the tendency to make assumptions. This is a time when you are unable to see what is ahead. Cultivate curiosity and trust the process of change and growth. You are done learning the lessons of recent experiences. In this place between what was and what will be is a state of making and unmaking and making again. What is essential now is to admit not knowing. There is great freedom and power to be unleashed. A mystery that is not yours to understand weaves the web of life within a divine matrix of consciousness greater than your own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, desires, and decisions. The seeds that were planted in the past begin to take root, but what surfaces will probably not be what you expect. When you are between the worlds, you are invited to see with the curious eyes of a child glimpsing a rainbow for the first time. Do so and you will not be disappointed. So it's interesting now. On the one hand, the Between Worlds energy definitely makes me think of the Seven of Cups energy we see on your side there. But like I said as well, for some of you, you might feel like this is your energy on the right and this is the other person's. And then that would actually fit as well because it mentioned here where you must let go of the tendency to make assumptions. Because like I said, it looks like this person's energy on the right, they seem to assume the worst. So I could really see that message resonating for either side. So hopefully that resonated. The relationship message says this is a time to explore the new energy between you and another. It is not a moment for certainty, but rather for discovery and curiosity. You don't yet know if this will last forever, so allow yourself to explore who you are and what is reflected back to you. This relationship is meant to educate you about yourself. What do you need? What do you like or dislike? What values are important to you? You are in a critical phase of your relationship that is not to be dismissed or hurried. So, pretty positive message there. Like I said, I still don't see a whole lot of communication going on here in September. It's possible that could change, but hopefully that resonated with you guys. Once again, happy early birthday to those of you celebrating September, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.